All right, here in Book 6, starting at line 384, what you've missed in the chunk that they omit in the syllabus reading is Aeneas's brief encounter with Palinurus, who used to be his helmsman until he was drowned. The entire story is omitted from the syllabus readings because you don't read anything from Book 5, but toward the end of Book 5, Palinurus falls asleep at the helm and falls over the side of the boat before the men reach Italy, and he drowns. Okay, so once they talk to Palinurus, they proceed with their mission of going to talk to Charon, and that's where you get the ergo iter inceptum per agunt. Here, the iter is described as inceptum because they've begun it, but they were distracted by this guy Palinurus. Here, note that fluio with the dative or in the dative is used with this verb of motion. Generally, you have verbs of motion with ad, but here, because of the nature of propinquant, takes a dative. Here, then you have navita quosiam inde ut stygia prospexit abunda. Here, you're going to want to take stygia with unda as the adjective modifying it from the Stygian wave, and then navita here is going to be your subject. Quos is your direct object, so whom, as the sailor saw from the Stygian wave. And then here with prospexit, you're actually going to have an indirect statement or an accusative infinitive construction with this verb of vision here. So as he saw them, per tacitum nemos ire and pedem advertere ripae. Okay, and then here, that's the end of your accusative infinitive construction, and then you have seek. So as he did that, thus he did this. Prior ad greditur dictis quat quin crepat ultro. Here, what you need to do is construe ad greditur by itself, and then increpat with dictis as the ablative of instrument here. And then you get the speech from Charon. He says, quis es, whoever you are, and then you're going to want to take qui as being the beginning of this clause. So, qui armatus tendis ad nostra flumina. And then he tells him, fare age. Note that age, while imperative in form, is usually just a way to intensify a verbal expression or an imperative. So it means come on. And then fare here is your second person singular imperative from for fare fatus. Note that the second person singular imperative of a deponent verb will look like a present active infinitive of what the verb would be if it weren't deponent. So in other words, you'll usually just take the ri off of your second principal part and then replace it with an re. All right, so fare age quid venias. Note that he's telling them to say, and then because you have the imperative, tell me, you then have an indirect question here, and so your verb's in the subjunctive. So tell me quid venias, and then jam istinc et comprime gressum. Okay, note here another imperative. In case Aeneas didn't know, Charon then informs him, hic locus est umbrarum, and hic locus est somni noctisque sopore. All right, so this is the place of umbrarum, somni, and noctis, which is described as sopore. Here with nefas, you want to supply something like est. It's nefas to vectare corpora viva on the Stygia carina. Okay, so note that that's an adjective in the ablative and the noun that it modifies. And then he tells him, nec vero nor indeed, sum laetatus, take these together. Laetatus sum would be the normal classical prose order. And note that laetor, laetare is another one of these deponent verbs. And then this verb of feeling happiness then has an accusative infinitive statement to complete it. So I did not rejoice that I alkiden euntem acapise lacu. Here the story is that Charon was actually, when he took Hercules on his boat across the river, Charon was punished by being chained up for a year. All right, and then nor here you're supposed to supply the sum laetatus acapise with thesia and pirithum. Note that Theseia here is one of these Greek accusatives of Theseus, and then his buddy Pirithous. These guys also came down to the underworld, and the story is that they tried to abduct Persephone. All right? And so he says, I didn't rejoice to bring those guys in, even though, quamquam, or although, dis geniti atque invicti viribus essent. So although they were dis geniti and invicti viribus. Here an ablative of specification or respect. Right? So ille, this is going to refer to the earliest mention of these, Alcides, which is Hercules. So he petivit Tartarium custodem with his manu in vincula, and then ipsius a solio regis traxitque trementem. Most of this is fairly straightforward. He took him from the seat of the king himself, and he traxit trementem. Note that this this present active participle modifies custodem here. And the Tartarian guard, hopefully it should be fairly clear that this is Cerberus. Supposedly Hercules dragged him out of the underworld. Right? So he tells you these men, dominam ditis thalamo deducere adorti. Here, adorior can mean to rise up, but it can also mean to set out or set upon something. So they set upon or attempted deducere dominam ditis thalamo. Here, you might want to supply something like ab with thalamo or a thalamo. So the mistress from the thalamo ditis, from the bed or the couch of Dis.